Tansi, Oki. I'm honored to be on the traditional territory of Treaty 7. And I make those remarks by way of saying there's a lot of different perspectives that come to the table. I'm a Cree Métis woman and from Treaty 8 area, northern Alberta. And I think I've been asked to speak about the role of women as it relates to diversity. And I'm excited to do that because I'm a business owner. And part of the reason, as I was introduced earlier, is I believe in helping individuals, organizations, and communities dream big about what it can be as opposed to what it is. And when we engage in that journey together, will lead to success, performance, etc. I'm also here because I have the hat on as a former board member of the Alberta Women Entrepreneurs. And as such, that organization supports women-owned businesses because that's the fastest growing sector of entrepreneurship, of small business in Canada. And it's also the highest percentage of successful businesses. So women-owned businesses tend to succeed over the long run. On the downside, maybe not so much, they tend to be in the small to medium enterprises, fewer than 5 employees. But I think it also reflects the choices that women make with regards to their personal values and their work-life balance. So one of the questions was, why should people care? Well, guess what? Women make up 50% of the population. And with that 50% comes a lot of creativity and innovation and so on that shouldn't be overlooked. So women bring a different perspective and particularly a work-life balance and different values that both benefit men and women in the workplace. And when women are more engaged, represented in larger numbers, the corporate culture tends to be more inclusive, there's more cooperation and commitment. Another reason why we should care, better use of resources. Michael said, 62% of people in universities are women. And if they're not participating in the workplace at the same level, then the return on investment on that education is pretty abysmal. Gender equality also in the workplace also saves money because as women may opt out because they don't see that their career needs or their personal aspirations are being met, it results in that turnover, and the cost of replacing individuals is significantly higher than what it costs to engage those individuals and create a better workplace. And if you look particularly at the legal profession, corporate MBAs, engineers and doctors, and women in those roles, they tend to, I'm going to say, not pursue the same career paths. So in the legal profession particularly, they may not be looking at partnership opportunities in the way that they should and that their skills and abilities would demand because they have that commitment to their families and to themselves. And it's been documented that women bring different leadership qualities, collaboration, information sharing, trust building networks, and so on. A case study, amazingly so, maybe not so amazingly, The Guardian in the UK newspaper reported that the top 7 most valuable brands in the world all have an above average number of women on their boards. And they're getting really excited because Apple has doubled the number of women on their boards from 1 to 2. But they're hoping for a significant turnaround in Apple's earnings. And, you know, pity that poor woman who's expected to do that, but I think she's up to it. But I think the big conclusion from that article was that executive teams and boards of organizations must mirror the company's clients and customers, because how do you make decisions on behalf of others? I mean, I did some work for an organization in Ireland, and let me tell you, they were all white male except for one woman, and I thought, she could be a man. No offense to accountants, but you know, she had the gray suit and the pearls and the helmet, Margaret Thatcher hair. And you know, when I opened up to some questions, the first question that came to me was, so are you a Red Indian? I said, oh my God. Political correctness is not a strong suit, but you know, I gave threw it back at them and said, you know, why do you want to know? How would this advance? They said, well, we're just wondering, you know, just. And I said, well, what does the evolving Irish population start to look like? It's not so homogeneous as it was 20 years ago, but that's an example. Another example is a global organization that you've probably heard of. Worley Parsons is an engineering firm, project management firm. And you know, if you go on their website, they certainly talk about their commitment to diversity and inclusion policies, work and life balance policies, prevention of harassment policies. But what they do that's, I think, important, and it should become a best practice, is they report their gender diversity statistics and publish it, and it's a measurable objective for increasing gender diversity. And they've established diversity and inclusion activities at several locations, including Canada. They have a WOW, Women of Worley Parsons, to profile successful women, to start networking and mentoring them. And then I saw the number that says, because I have done lots of work with them, 970 members worldwide in their WOW. And I thought, wait a minute, they have 6,000 employees just in Canada. So 970 around the world? Wow. However, it's a move, it's an actual move in the right direction. They celebrate International Women's Day, which again is bringing something new to the culture. If I steal a little bit of my colleague's thunder, you know, to recognize that consultation with Aboriginal people isn't disruptive of a project management cycle. It's actually part of the project management cycle. So, ideas to take back. Well, there's a global code of conduct that was launched by the UN Women's Group, and it's called Women's Empowerment Principles, 7 Key Areas. High-level corporate leadership. So how do you get more women into those senior roles? And as such, your stakeholders, your supply chain, do they have the same principles as well? So in other words, it's not enough for you to start working on that without encouraging strongly that your key suppliers and preferred suppliers will also have those same policies with regards to women. Treat people fairly, and that means both men and women. So family-friendly policies. You know, what are the countries that have the highest index of women's participation tends to be the Scandinavian countries. And, you know, women get a year off for when they have a child, so does the father. And that's part of what increases productivity. It's not, oh gee, everyone gets a holiday because they had a baby. It's a contribution to the society. Assure participation in decision making. When you form a committee or you're part of a committee in the workplace, look around the table. Are there women on that committee? If not, go find them, encourage them, invite them. Just don't say, well, they didn't show up, they didn't volunteer. Go out and encourage them. So starting to mentor people. Health and safety and security in the workplace, harassment-free, violence-free. There's a group in Canada called We Connect, and it ensures that your supply chain has gender equality. So in other words, if I'm looking to buy goods and services, I'm looking for women-owned businesses as part of my supply chain. And always measure and report on your progress. So start today, look at those numbers of women and look where it is next year and what have you done to get there. And then I'm going to tell a little story because I just returned from Qatar in the Middle East to see my first grandchild, a granddaughter, and she is the ultimate global citizen. She has Cree, Métis, North African, and Scottish lineage. And she has a beautiful name, Sophia, so that all the different languages can say her name. So we were quite delighted with that, but also, again, spending time in Qatar also gave me pause to reflect on the different roles that women play. And to bring up a story that MacKenzie mentioned, being served by many Filipinos in the service sector, and they would say, where are you from? And as soon as you said Canada, they would say, Alberta? And I said, well, as a matter of fact, yes. And that was a goal. That's where they want to go. So they're getting experience in these countries, and they're coming there. So thank you very much.